You know, every once in a while, a card makes you feel so damn good, and then it throws you in the shitter. And that's what 327 was for me. I did pretty poorly on picks for the prelims, I believe. But I picked it up, starting with the Holland fight. Went on a nice streak here. Oh, man. This one fucking hurt. Prado versus Radke. Radke looked good. I picked Prado. I thought he'd be able to catch him on the feet. He did in the beginning, but he just wasn't able to capitalize. Radke looked good. He's a good fighter, good wrestler. Luque versus Gastelum. I picked Gastelum. But, Luque, I was rooting for him. I'm really happy he got the win. Made it look really easy. I don't really think a lot of people saw that coming. He's a good fit for middleweight, I guess. He already had crazy power at 70. Moving up to 85, and you're able to drop a guy like Gastelum, who I know gets dropped every once in a while these days, still has a granite chin. And finishing him nonetheless, it's very, very tricky. I'd be surprised if Gastelum has many finish losses. Yeah, that was his fourth one. That's impressive. Great win from Luque. That's a really, really nice bounce back after that Joel Alvarez one. Markel Medeiros versus Chris Padilla. This was a good fight. I picked Padilla. I thought he won. I don't know how Medeiros got the win without the poke. Draw, I guess, is cool. Picked Tatiana here. Impressive. She looked really good. Man, I don't want to talk about this shit right now, bro. But I'm committed. Gamrot versus Ribovics. I picked Ribovics. Obviously, Gamrot, one of the best grapplers. I think you have to put him into like top 10 grappler talks in lightweight history. He's ragdolling most people that aren't Charles Oliveira. He even had really, really great grappling success against Sarukian in their fight a few years ago. He's becoming one of the greatest grapplers we've ever seen at 55. He was able to ragdoll a really game opponent. Ribovics really was just never able to get going. Got taken down pretty much from the beginning. Gamrot looked like a beast. Got his first finish in a while. I'm going to say not including the Fazia fight. Yeah, wow. Diego Fajeda. First finish in 4.5 years. Very, very impressive from Gamrot. Not upset that I got this wrong. I'm a fan of Gamrot. Liked him for a while. Good win for him. Moving on, Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. This fight was really fucking fun until the third round. I picked Holland here. I thought Randy would just take a right hand and die. That didn't happen. Holland did drop him, which I'm happy because I predicted that. I just thought he'd be able to put him out. What else to say about this one? Round two, he looked good, Holland. He definitely gassed his arms out with the Darce. Yeah, after that fight just turned to shit and he won the decision. Happy I got that one right, though. I felt like a lot of people were picking Randy Brown. It didn't really make too much sense to me, so, good win. Aaron Pico, Patricio Pitbull. This fight was awesome. This is what Pico should have done to Lerone Murphy. You can laugh at me all you want for that statement. I do think Pico is one of the chinniest fighters in the UFC right now. He was able to roll with the punches really well, though. Really, really, really good boxing fundamentals when he's not going for the kill, which tends to be a lot of the fight, is him going for the kill. But I don't know, he is one of those guys, he kind of strives in the chaos of a fight. He's almost like a Yuri, when he gets caught, he goes out, but until then, he's a fucking force. And, yeah, it looked really good, man. Piecing Pitbull up. Pitbull was landing a little bit in the first round. He had some good volume in the first round, but after he was getting stung over and over and over again, Pitbull, his volume just turned off completely. And this fight was dominated by Pico. I scored the second round. You could score it a 10-8. He dropped him and wobbled him so many times. What a chin on Pitbull, but what a performance by Pico. I'd love to see him fight the winner of Aljo versus Alal or somebody like that. I think this might be a controversial thing to say. I think he deserves a top 5 shot or, top 7 maybe. Cub Swanson picked him by TKO. He won by TKO. Nate just doesn't have a good chin at all. I really should have added him to my chinny fighters list, because he is one of them, absolutely. Just no chin. No chin. Cub, he's looked this good for years. He really has. He's looked this good for years. This was always in his arsenal. I was very surprised by Nate Landwehr. This was literally the featherweight version of Robbie Lawler versus Nico Price to me. Nate didn't do a thing, just like Nico Price in that fight. Moving on, Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. Do I even want to... Man, this fucking fight pissed me off, man. I made a whole ass video because of this fight, and they just... I picked Dominic Reyes. I was rooting for Johnny Walker. I thought Johnny Walker won. And Dominic Reyes got the win. Not much to say. Not much to say. Just... whatever. Okay. It's time to stop being a fucking piece of shit. Hokit versus Blades. Hokit versus Blades. Hokit versus Blades. Wow. Wow. This is the greatest back and forth, just balls to the wall, fucking slugfest, barn burner, fucking slobber knocker fight I've watched since Yuri versus Glover. This fight, listen, for all you Hokit haters, I was one of you just 2 measly hours ago. And then I realized this guy is able to back it up. He puts on one of the greatest fights we've ever fucking seen, and if you're saying otherwise, oh, it was too sloppy, it needs to be technical masterclass, bro. Yo, have you watched Gamrot versus Sarukin, bro? That's a goated fight. See, you're not built for this sport. That's okay. That's all right, man. You can go watch fucking ice hockey, do your thing. Stay out of MMA if you have that opinion, though. Hokit, I hated him. Blade's one of my favorite heavyweights. But he earned my respect, Hokit, here. This fight, I can't even break it down. I can't even break this one down. I can't even talk about what happened in each round. I mean, this is one of those fights, you only get one of these, especially in the heavyweight division, once every decade or so. 5 to 10 years, rather. The last time we've gotten a fight like this was when Yuri won his first title. That's the last one I can remember. Man, I want to fucking kill myself. This fight is an all-time. Put it in the Hall of Fame. You can call me a piece of shit in the comments if you disagree. Put this shit in the Hall of Fame. Objectively, put this shit in the Hall of Fame. Paulo Costa versus Azamat Murzakanov. I picked Paulo Costa by round 3 TKO. I said that Murzakanov would start up strong, as he usually does, and he would gas out, as he usually does, and he would get TKO'd late by a heavy volume, great cardio Costa, as Costa used to do back in his prime. But I guess Costa's still in his prime, because Azamat actually lost the first round, and he won the second. Very interesting turn of events. Costa looked gassed in the second. Wasn't looking great for him. Came out in the third like a completely fresh Costa, and fucking slept him with a head kick. Nearly slept him with a head kick. Beautiful. Just one of the most incredible career comeback wins you'll ever see in the history of the sport, reminiscent of a Masvidal versus Ben Askren. Just in the sense that, a guy who's kind of, past his prime and losing some, winning some, and hasn't looked this good since before he fought Adesanya when he was an undefeated fighter. Goes on and gets objectively the greatest win of his career, what probably will remain the greatest win of his career for the foreseeable future unless he somehow goes on to win a title. This is just so impressive by Costa, and he's always had that head kick in the arsenal. He was landing it on Yoel over and over and over, but of course Yoel's got one of the craziest blockhead chins you'll ever see. Azamat wilted in the third as we expected. if you picked Costa, it's because Azamat wilts in the third. Always. Just a beautiful performance. The biggest bright spot on the card for me personally, when it comes to my favorite fighters and how they've performed. Costa absolutely he's hitting a second peak, very late. It's very, very, very impressive. Congrats to Costa. This is one of my performances of the year. Just a beautiful upset and a beautiful finish. Just a great win. Now, Yuri versus ULBERG. Now, if you think I'm a pussy, Yuri's my favorite fighter of all time. I can confidently say that. Before him, it was Tony. But, this is fucking rough. This shit means something to me, man. And it's not, it would be different if ULBERG had went in and just steamrolled Yuri, or, just caught him normally. This was I don't want to say throw, but I don't even want to say fumble. But this is a loss, a title fight loss, the likes we've never seen in over a decade, since Chris Weidman versus Luke Rockhold, where Chris Weidman was winning handily until he went for a spinning wheel kick, fell over, and lost because of it. It's not quite similar, because it wasn't like he had it in the bag. It was a bloody fight. It was a great fight. Yuri had this fight. We've seen time and time again over the last few years, when fighters are injured, when it's a knee, an ACL tear, whatever it might be, the doctors stop those fights in between rounds. They do. Even if they're winning, it doesn't matter. And you have to, the adrenaline dump in between rounds, not the adrenaline dump per se, but if the adrenaline's able to power you through a round one injured, and you sit down in between the second and you're panicking kind of, and you're injured, that you're not going to be able to get up for round two, most likely. You just don't see it often. Doctors wave those types of fights off. And Yuri was going to be the champion if he survived for a minute 15 longer. He decided to go in. I said that Yuri would win by round 1 KO. I said he'd push him up against the fence, he'd eat the shots, and he'd hit him with a big 1-2, the exact 1-2 that he knocked Volkan Oezdemir out with against the fence. He did exactly that. And he went for that same 1-2, that big step in with the left foot, leading with the big power jab, stiff jab. And then he got caught by the left before he was able to throw the 2 that would have put ULBERG away. I had it down to a T, minus the injury, of course, until Yuri got caught. And that's it. That's it. I apologize for my voice. The Hokut fight fucking happened. And it was followed by the Costa fight. So it's a bit raspy. Lost my voice there. I am depressed. UFC 327, ladies and gentlemen. I make picks every Sunday. I make instant reactions within an hour of every card ending. If you like the video, please like it. If you like the content I make, please subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Chind. I'm gonna kill myself.